Hello and welcome to Next Wave Digital Video. I'm your host, Tony Reale. A couple years ago, I did a review of the Sony ZV-1, and I stated that it was one of my favorite cameras to use for vlogging and for behind-the-scenes capture. I have dozens of cameras ranging from small DSLRs up to my Red Epic W. And I have a lot of cameras at my arsenal, but the thing that sometimes is tricky when I want to shoot behind the scenes of our productions or do a quick episode of NextWaveDV is getting a camera I have to set up, get all the settings correct, get all the equipment set up, the audio, all that kind of stuff. So having a camera that's optimized for vlogging has made it really easy for me to crank out content on a more regular basis, especially lately when we've been doing our virtual production studio. I've been able to take you guys on that journey. So having a camera that makes that easy is super important to me. Now, a couple years ago, I picked up the Samsung Fold 2, and I've really been enjoying it. It's been great to have a tablet and a regular phone with me in my pocket that I can fold and take with me easily. The Fold series of phones has one feature that I think makes it really handy for vlogging, which is when you turn on the camera, you can click selfie mode and then flip it around, and now you have the cameras that are on the back facing you with the screen. So again, the thing that really made the ZV-1 handy for vlogging was, again, that ability to have the screen flipping around towards you. And having a camera phone that is like this is also really, really handy, because then you can be able to see and compose yourself with the high-end cameras. Every phone has a selfie camera, but these are the good cameras. And so this is where we would rather be shooting with. So being able to see yourself with that, super, super handy. That said, the Fold 2, the cameras were okay on it. I just got in yesterday the Fold 4, and I just got in. I haven't done any tests on it, and I was wanting to compare it to the Fold 2, see how it compared to that. I know that people are saying the cameras are better in here, but I wanted to compare it to the Fold 2. Then I also want to compare it to my ZV-1 and see if the Fold 4 could become a tool that I could use for vlogging even more often. Again, the ZV-1's great, but I don't always have it with me. My phone, I have it with me on a pretty regular basis. So this test is going to be mainly about using the Fold 4 for vlogging. So I'm going to be testing the field of view. There's two different lenses here that I would use. There's a zoom lens, but I wouldn't use that too much for vlogging. So there's an ultra wide angle and the standard lens. I'm going to be comparing that. On my ZV-1, you might notice that I have this lens adapter here. This is something that I use to kind of get a little bit extra wide angle. The ZV-1, it's okay with the wide angle, but as soon as you add in the image stabilization on it, it crops in a little bit and makes it even closer. So having this wide angle adapter makes it easier for me to vlog with it and not be super tight on my face. So I'm going to be comparing with and without this. I'm going to be also comparing the image quality between the Fold 4 and the Fold 2 and see if there is, in fact, better cameras on this as well. And again, I'm going to be focusing primarily from a vlogging perspective. There's lots of people that have been doing photography posts about the two cameras, and that's great. But I really want to see how well does it handle for just run and gun, simple vlogging, and then also kind of low light, because when we're doing video production, I'm usually shooting behind the camera, behind the lenses, behind the lighting. So a lot of times I'm in lower light situations. And so I want to be able to see, does the camera hold up well in low light? I know the ZV-1 is pretty good. Sometimes it gets a little noisy when it's really dark. How well does the Fold 4 handle? So that's the test we're going to be doing today. I'm going to be talking about a few different accessories throughout the video, and you'll find links for all those in the description below. Let's get started. All right, for this comparison, I'm holding both cameras at arm's length. I currently have the no Ulanzi adapter on the ZV-1, and I have the standard lens on the Fold 4, and I have stabilization turned off on both of the cameras. So I'm just going to walk right now, and so you can see what it looks like with video stabilization turned off on both of these cameras. It's very bright. I'm going to turn around and we'll see how the audio, both of these are turned on auto exposure. I haven't just intelligent auto on the ZV-1 and just standard auto on the Fold 4. And I'm going to go ahead and walk into our studio back here and see how the two are comparing. Right now the ZV-1 is just not liking my face for some reason. That's interesting. So now it's recognizing my face. And that is without image stabilization turned on. All right, again, I'm holding these cameras both at arm's length. I have active stabilization turned on the ZV-1 and regular video stabilization turned on my Fold 4. I'm gonna go ahead and walk outside. I usually like to wear sunglasses in the outdoors, so I apologize for the squinting, but I'm just walking at a standard pace. No walking or no running, just walking at a standard pace and turning around to that backlight. And again, the ZV-1 in auto mode. Now I can always lock off the settings really easily in the ZV-1, but it's curious that it's this time around in intelligent auto, it's not favoring my face really well. That's interesting. All right, so I'm just gonna leave image stabilization on for the rest of these because that's typically how I would use it anyways. So again, standard lens on both of the cameras. I'm gonna go ahead and close the garage door here. And this is gonna allow us to see what kind of low light performance we would get with these. So as the garage door closes, I have auto ISO, auto settings on the ZV-1, and on the Fold 4, again, of course, it's set to auto. So now it's starting to get really dark in here. I have one LED light that's hitting me in the face. I'm gonna turn that off. And now we're in pretty low light conditions. I don't know that I would shoot much lower light than this and expect anything to happen. So the ZV-1 is dropping down to 1/15 of a second shutter. ISO is cranking up to about 5,000. And I don't know what the settings are on the Fold 4, but this is, so you can see that staccato effect that's happening on the ZV-1 as I turn around because the shutter's open so long. And the Fold 4 is holding up really, really well. It's hard for me to tell on the screen how much noise is in there, but here's our low light comparison of the two cameras. I've now added the Ulanzi wide angle adapter to the ZV-1, and that's allowing me to get a little bit wider with the same arm length distance. Interestingly enough, it seems to compare almost identical to the standard lens on the Fold 4. But the Fold 4 also has the ultra wide angle, which I'm going to switch to right now. And now we have the ultra wide angle. You can even see the ZV-1 over there as I'm holding it. So again, we have a much wider option on the Fold 4. The ZV-1, I can't get really any wider. I don't know if maybe they make wide angle adapters. I don't know, but this is pretty impressive on the Fold 4. So I'm gonna walk around again with this lens. Now this lens has the ultra wide on the Fold 4 isn't as wide open or as fast of a lens as the standard lens. So if I walk outside, we should get really nice colors and it should be plenty of light, of course, for the ultra wide to do fine. But let's also go ahead and test the ultra wide in low light, because that's where it's more than likely going to suffer a bit. So I'm going to close the garage door again. And the ultra wide's looking pretty good so far. My arms are getting tired. Maybe I should have come up with a better rig system for this. So as the garage door closes, and again, I have image stabilization turned on the ultra wide, so you can see that too. As the garage door closes, we're getting a much lower light scenario. So this is the way that it was before when I did the low light test. So you can see with the ZV-1, it's still looking pretty close to the same. The Fold 4 on the ultra wide is suffering. It's definitely a lot noisier. So I'll just switch real quick to the standard lens. So you can see in the same scenario, there's a lot less noise on the Fold 4 standard lens compared to the ultra wide. Oop, wrong way. There we go, ultra wide. So it's hard to do this with with both hands full. But yeah, that's a pretty good comparison of the two. The ultra wide's really handy, but it can also be a bit difficult in low light. All right, up to this point, I've been using the Rode Wireless Go microphone. Great little microphone, I use it a lot. But this time I've turned off the Wireless Go and I'm using the onboard microphone of the ZV-1, which is really good actually. It's not too bad. And when you're holding the phone at that kind of vlogging distance, it works pretty darn well. Now I'm going to compare it to the audio of the Fold 4, just out of the box. so you can hear what the audio sounds like from the phone. Again, this is arm distance away, so I don't expect a ton. I do have the garage door open, so there may be some road noise behind it. But we can compare the audio from the ZV-1 and how that sounds with the onboard microphone to the audio of the Fold 4, again with the onboard microphone. Now for this next test, I'm going to be using two different Lav packs. So I'm going back to the Rode Wireless Go that I've been using on the ZV-1. And now I'm using a new little Ulanzi microphone that I picked up for super cheap on Amazon. It was, I think, around 40, 50 bucks. Really cheap. I'll have a link for that below. But you can hear the sound on it. That's it. There's no extra pack. It just literally plugs in via USB-C to my phone, and really easy to set up. Now this isn't necessarily a fair fight because the Rode mic is well over $100, and the Ulanzi, it's actually a double pack that I have, so I can have an extra person with me and they can be mic'd as well. But it's for the price and for the ease of use, because it's literally you just plug it in via USB. It's really, really handy. So that's the external mic options for the Fold 4. Again, I could plug in the Rode Wireless Go to the Fold 4 if I wanted to, but this is a lot more run and gun and really easy to set up, so I like having this option for sure. All right, I now have the Fold 4 over here, and I have the Fold 2 over here. This is both the standard lenses of both of these cameras, and I'm trying to get them as hygienically composed as possible. It's a little difficult, but not too bad. So this is again arm's length from both cameras, and I'm going to go ahead and walk outside with both of these as well into broad sunlight, and then I'm going to turn around, allow the backlight to hit me, and then we're going to go back inside. I'm going to close that garage door, and we're going to test out the low light on both of these cameras as well. So again, we have the Fold 2 over here, the Fold 4 over here. Garage door is almost closed all the way. And here we go. All right, this is garage door closed. Trying to get similar conditions. Again, both of these cameras are just set to auto, 4K 30 FPS. Just looking at the screens, the Fold 4 is looking pretty good. You guys tell me in the comments. I'll find out when I get to the edit, but let me know in the comments what you guys think. All right, and this is the ultra wide on both of the cameras. So again, we have the Fold 4 over here, we have the Fold 2 over here. Ultra wide on both of the cameras. I'm gonna turn around, we're gonna head back inside to the garage. So this is again on auto, walking around, having just normal lighting. This is a big giant softbox in front of me, so that's pretty even. And now we're going to close the garage door again and see how the low light compares on both of these. I've been feeling the Fold 4 is going to outperform again, though maybe not by much. As we saw before, the Fold 4 does have a bit of it still gets noisy when it's really dark. And this is a pretty dark scenario, so I don't expect perfection out of this. All right, now we have the Fold 2 over here, looking very crunchy, and the Fold 4 looking noisy, but still, I feel like I could see it a lot better on the Fold 4 than the Fold 2. So that's encouraging, because again, in these scenarios, I want to be able to just grab my phone and say, hey, this is what we're doing today. I'll kind of spin around and show you what's going on. Having the Fold 4 just performing better is really, really nice. This last test that I'm doing is what I'm considering kind of like the interview mode. If you lock off your camera and you're just doing a talking head shot, not walking around, and in a well-lit environment, kind of what we were using before with our main camera, the Blackmagic Ursa, how do the two cameras compare? So we have the ZV-1. I took off the Ulanzi adapter, sitting right here. This is just the bare lens, zoomed in ever so slightly. And then I have the main lens on the Fold 4 as well. And that's just pointed at me, again with the same lighting conditions. I now have the camera in aperture priority, not in auto mode anymore for the ZV-1, and for the Fold 4, it's still set on auto because I'm just using the main camera app and not setting it in pro mode. So these two cameras are then compared, like if you were to lock it off and just do a talking head web video, this is what they might look like in comparison. So one other feature that I wanted to go over real quick was, again, the integration of things like Samsung's ecosystem. So right now I have the Samsung Buds 2 Pro, the new ones that just came out in addition to the Fold 4 coming out. And so I'm using the audio off of that to record instead of the on-camera microphone. And I also have the Watch 5 right here, and if you can see, it's hard to see right there, it actually has a preview of, and this is live, so you can see as I'm moving up and down, this is a live preview, only maybe half a second delay of what's happening on here. So I can actually have like a little monitor, something I can't do on the ZV-1 at all. So that feature, pretty stinking cool. So this is the Watch 5, and again the Buds 2 Pro, so we can hear what the audio compares with. Probably would still use the Ulanzi microphone for vlogging, but again, if I was just out and about and I wanted to throw in an external microphone compared to the on-camera microphone, this would be a nice option to have. Well, thanks for joining me on this comparison journey. I hope you found it helpful, and I'm curious to hear what you guys think. So keep the conversation going in the comments below on how these phones and cameras compare with each other. But until next time, thanks for watching.